Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this great Sunday. My name is Diana Alfara, and I am the Vice Chair of Housing Santa Cruz County. And we are celebrating not just our first anniversary as an organization, so yay. But we are also celebrating the kickoff of Affordable Housing Month, which I am so proud to have been a part of for these last several years with my BFF and partner here, Don Lane. So I have the pleasure of not just welcoming you all and talking about how great Housing Santa Cruz County is, but I also get to introduce our first speaker. But before I do that, Housing Santa Cruz County was created to advocate, educate, and celebrate all things affordable housing, just like Affordable Housing Month. And our goal is to get more folks out there to be excited about affordable housing and all it could mean. Not only does it mean stable, safe housing for folks, but it also means that we can keep equitable communities throughout our county, which is something that we definitely want and need. I grew up in affordable housing when I was young, and then it enabled my parents to buy a home of their own later on. And so now my parents are proud homeowners, and I got to benefit from all of that. So please try to join us, or join us. Don't try, actually do it. And you can talk to any of our members here to find out how, or you can just look at our website, housingsanacruzcounty.org. So with that, I have the pleasure of introducing one of my favorite people, Adam Spickler, who was elected to the Cabrillo College Board of Trustees in 2018. In addition to doing that at Cabrillo, he is also serving as a manager of administrative services for the County of Santa Cruz Office of the Public Defender, is an elected member of the Democratic Central Committee, and serves on the Housing Santa Cruz County Board, which is the most interesting fact, in my opinion. So, without further ado, here's Adam.
Oh, thanks, Diana. That probably doesn't happen to you often that people lower the mic after you speak.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It happens to me all the time. I am so privileged to be able to be here to welcome everybody to Cabrillo College for an in-person outdoor event. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for enjoying the Cesnon House with us. And thank you especially for being a supporter of affordable housing. I want to share a little bit with you about the work Cabrillo is doing in regards to housing. When I first arrived here as a trustee in 2019, I was aware of the good work we were already doing to help support students in need through matching them up with affordable housing units where we could, and through grants from the county and the Cabrillo College Foundation, providing rental assistance wherever possible. And as the need grew, especially through the pandemic, with some emergency funding, we've been able to increase that effort, which I'm really grateful for. But when I joined the governing board in 2019, I noticed that there weren't any goals for our board around housing. So I asked if we could include student and workforce housing needs on our board goals, which we did. And since then, we've developed a relationship with Laird, and Laird, who provides a shared equity down payment program for first-time homebuyers, for teachers and support staff in education. Cabrillo College is the very first community college Laird has ever partnered with nationwide. Since adding to our goals around housing, our focus has shifted to student housing. We're aiming to meet a serious need. In 2020, we conducted a student housing feasibility study where we learned that 32% of our students were housing insecure. That's out of, at the time, 9,000 students that we served. So think about those numbers. That really became a priority of ours. We completed our housing feasibility study, and we then wrote for a grant as part of the Senate Bill 169 funding. We applied for $50 million in state funds to build a 298-unit student housing complex, which the board voted to place on our lower campus field. And we've recently learned, unfortunately, we didn't qualify for the first round of funds. We just shy of qualifying because we weren't shovel ready. But what the state has provided us is just shy of $250,000, about $247,000, to start an EIR process. And what we as a college would like to do, and why I'm telling you about this, is as we move into the EIR phase, we would like to put a Cabrillo, wrote down the name of it because Matt's already named this, Cabrillo Housing Advisory Committee together. So that as we shift to start working on getting shovel ready, we have an advisory group working with us to get out in front of any community issues and get community support at every step of the way as we look at building student housing. So if any of you have a particular interest around student housing, please let me know. We'd love to include you, or if it's somebody that you know who you think would be a great fit, on our advisory committee. And with that, I want to thank you again for being here today and sharing this incredible day at Cabrillo College. In my role as a board member for Housing Santa Cruz County, I thank you for attending. And am I introducing the next person? I'm just simply saying thank you. It's really good to see you all.
Hi everyone, my name is Don Lane and I'm the chair of the Governing Board of Housing Santa Cruz County, and I want to join Diana and Adam in welcoming you to our anniversary celebration and the launch of Affordable Housing Month. Thank you so much. Thank you seriously from the bottom of my heart for joining us today. We're so glad you're here. I'll be the MC today, and I'm excited to do that for at least a couple of reasons. One is that we have a great lineup of speakers who will provide very meaningful and succinct remarks on affordable housing issues. But before we hear from those folks, and my other enjoyable task is to recognize a whole bunch of wonderful people and organizations who not only support our housing work, but are doing great work themselves in building community and enriching lives in Santa Cruz County. We're glad that we have terrific partners and allies as we strengthen our community, move toward greater equity and inclusion, and recognize safe, affordable housing as the foundation for healthy families and individuals. First, our supporting sponsors for Affordable Housing Month: Cabrillo College, hosting us today, Driscoll's Berries, the City of Santa Cruz, UC Santa Cruz, and the Pajaro Valley Community Health Trust. Also, Lookout Santa Cruz, the local online newspaper, is providing support, and also will be sharing with you a special offer from Lookout to join their online newspaper. Thank you to all those sponsors. And then also I want to thank Reparia 831 for providing the food and refreshments. And it's also very important to recognize our annual sponsors. They're not, I guess they still are going up on the screen right now, the logos of all those different supporters. We don't have time for me to read every one of them to you right now, but I want to give a special shout out to some of the key sponsors that sustain our work. Eden Housing, Mid-Penn Housing, Housing Trust Silicon Valley, Roland and Pat Rebele, Alexander Gagin, Housing Matters, the Community Foundation of Santa Cruz County, the Meadow Fund, Meta, Sutter Health, Community Action Board, Encompass Community Services, and the Santa Cruz Warriors. We are truly grateful for their support, and we're really proud that we've created an organization that they feel is worthy of their support. There's also a few partner organizations I want to recognize that we work closely with. One is New Way Homes, our fiscal sponsor. Also, Monterey Bay Economic Partnership, Affordable Housing Now, Santa Cruz YIMBY, the Student Housing Coalition, and the Nonprofit Housing Association of Northern California. They stand shoulder to shoulder with us as we work to create a healthier and more equitable community. So we are so glad to have those strong partners. In case you've ever wondered why organizations like ours recognize elected officials and candidates at an event like this, let me share my perspective. It's not because we have an obligation. It's because they get invited to a lot of different events and they can't make it to everything. So when they show up for affordable housing and associate themselves with this important work, we want to thank them for being with us, because not everyone is. So in a little bit, you'll hear from 2 senators and an assembly member, and a handful of mayors are going to be up here in a few minutes for a little ceremony. But also I want to recognize right now, from the Santa Cruz City Council, Martine Watkins and Shepard Johnson, Rebecca Garcia from the Watsonville City Council, Steve Trujillo from the Cabrillo Board, and a couple of candidates, and I hope I probably will be reminded of some that I'm missing, but for now I will recognize 2 that I know are here: Gail Pellerin, and John Wizard, also from a different district. So I'm going to recognize several other great allies a bit later, but I'll keep you in suspense for a little while on that. Our first featured speaker today is with us for 2 reasons. Jordan Taylor is the backbone of our giant staff of 2. He does a bit of everything, and he does it really well. And he works incredibly hard. And Jordan is also here to remind us, in case we need reminding, why we're actually here today and why we're doing this work. It's about the people of our community, and it's about making life better for individuals and families who are struggling, at least in part because of housing challenges. We invited Jordan to tell a bit of his story and talk about why he's doing this work. Jordan.
Thank you. Thanks, Dawn, for that lovely introduction. Hi, everyone. Hola. My name is, as Dawn said, my name is Jordan Taylor. I'm the staff coordinator here with Housing Santa Cruz County. And as Dawn also said, that means I kind of wear a lot of hats for this organization. I started working with Housing Santa Cruz County in 2021, right at the start of 2021. And that was after I graduated college in May of 2020. And that was right in the middle of the old pandemic. It was a very, very uncertain time, but something that was interesting about that time was that we all kind of collectively felt that sense of uncertainty. It wasn't anything that any one person experienced in isolation. We all felt the tangible conditions around us suddenly become unstable and intangible. But as many of you know, this feeling of uncertainty is something that many people in our community and many other communities have been feeling since far before the pandemic. And that's as a result of housing insecurity and our local affordability crisis. I myself am no stranger to this uncertainty. I spent my upbringing having to move around all different ends of Santa Cruz County just to try to find an affordable place to live. First, we bounced around a couple spots in Capitola before moving over to Bayer Road in Live Oak when I was in elementary school. We lived there until the rent was raised one too many times, and then in 5th grade we moved to Watsonville, first near the Pajaro Dunes, and then down the road from EA Hall Middle School, commuting to the city of Santa Cruz every day. We even became houseless for a period while struggling to actually locate housing on the west side of the city of Santa Cruz, until we were finally able to secure an apartment on Western Drive, where I was able to live from 8th grade until my senior year of high school. But all this moving around was hard. It was difficult. My grades suffered, my mental health suffered, my ability to build relationships and make friends suffered, especially compared to the kids who I met in middle school and high school who had friends and mentors that they had grown up with since early childhood, right in their neighborhood. The same neighborhood they had been in all their lives. And even once we were lucky enough to find housing on the west side, there was this ever-present threat that we would have to move if the rent became too expensive, which halfway through my senior year, it did, and we had to move to SoCal. I'm very thankful that I had the stability to kind of have college and whatnot figured out by the time we did have to move during my senior year, because a lot of people aren't that lucky, and if that had happened, a year before or even a matter of months before, I don't think that it would be necessarily the same situation. My own experience with financial insecurity, was part of what led me to seek out mission-driven work when I returned to Santa Cruz in 2020. There are so many human issues that our community faces stem from a lack of a safe and stable home. It was clear to me as a kid, and it's even more clear now, that at present there's truly no mission in Santa Cruz County greater than the mission to see that every member of our community has a safe, stable, and affordable place to call home. Thank you all so much for being here today and for supporting that mission.
All right, thank you so much, Jordan. Now you can see why we are so lucky to have him with us. So now it's my great pleasure to introduce Dominic Dursa from the Office of Assemblymember Robert Rivas. In addition to doing an outstanding job of representing the people of his district, most importantly, the people of the southern portion of Santa Cruz County, Assemblymember Rivas has an outstanding history of work and authoring legislation on affordable housing issues. Please join me in welcoming Dominic Dursa on behalf of
Good afternoon. That's quite an introduction. It's always a little weird going up to that introduction when it's not you. So, makes me feel good though. It makes me feel good. I am Dominic Dursa on behalf of Assemblymember Rivas being here today. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it at the last minute. Assembly members do have childcare issues as well. But he sent me in instead to deliver a few remarks. As far as my housing credentials go, usually the only ones I have to share are, I know Matt Huerta and Salinas. Usually does okay, sometimes gets me in trouble. But he's Assemblymember Rivas truly is a person dedicated on this mission of providing more affordable housing. First, he's always been dedicated to this because the success he's experienced is traced back directly to how he was brought up. As was mentioned, he's a person who came up in affordable housing in a small 2-bedroom farm worker housing in Pisces. Without that stability, he honestly believes, and we all probably know, he might not have been where he is today in Sacramento. But it's that California dream that unfortunately housing has been so much a part of that so many workers have not been able to grasp. It's that housing that is not only part of the generational wealth that disadvantaged communities are so dependent on to build success for future generations. It's also a home that is key to educational opportunities. It's key to having better health outcomes. Think about the mental health opportunities that are provided just by simply having a room to yourself, a room over your head where you're able to do your homework, where you're able to have that Zoom meeting when we're in this once-in-a-century pandemic. And so what he worked to do this year with his colleagues was join them in a statewide housing tour. Because what we face in California is not a one-size-fits-all solution. What may work here in Santa Cruz may not be the solution for Watsonville or Salinas or Soledad or Los Angeles. And so what he worked to do with his colleagues was join them with local stakeholders, join them with local elected officials to hear what are the issues that we're facing in a region like ours. When he introduced legislation on farm worker housing, so often people really didn't know what that issue was. As far as they were concerned, you go to a grocery store and the lettuce is there. You don't really think about what does it take to get that produce section there. And so those stakeholder meetings that occurred up and down the state in the Central Valley were the impetus to have legislation move forward this year with solutions offered by local stakeholders that had people attend meetings, people like Matt Huerta, Jane Barr, local elected officials from throughout our region. And it's one of the reasons why we need to continue having organizations like this that are going to bring together the collaboration we need to be successful, because those conversations are not easy. So many of you here have heard no in a lot of different ways, but every time you change a no to a yes, it is an opportunity for somebody to have a home. So on behalf of Assemblymember Rivas, he'd like to thank everybody here for what it is you're doing to create affordable housing for people, because it's not a unit created, it's a home for somebody to be successful. Don, thank you.
Thanks, Dominic. And even though we did introduce you through the assembly member, all of you can see that Dominic does tremendous work on this issue himself, and we're so grateful. Thanks, Dominic. John Laird is undoubtedly one of the most accomplished public servants Santa Cruz County has ever seen. Mayor, City Council member, Cabrillo Trustee, Assembly member, State Natural Resources Secretary, and now Senator. Until literally 3 days ago, Senator Laird was going to be with us in person. However, something that John simply could not avoid came up at the last minute. So Jonathan Engelman from his staff is going to be here to represent him for a moment, and John has also prepared a message for us that we'll be able to see in a moment. Jonathan?
Well, thank you everyone for having me. Like Dominic said before me, I mean, affordable housing is such an incredibly difficult issue to deal with for residents of our county and up and down the state. And it's just amazing that we can come together as a community to talk about this really difficult issue and to work on a path forward to ensure that everyone in our community has an affordable place to stay. And I don't want to take too much time from the senator because he will have more to speak on that, but I did want to present Dawn and Housing Santa Cruz County with a certificate from the senator just to commemorate a year and to kick off Affordable Housing Month, and just to thank all of you for all the effort that you guys put in on this really important issue. So thank you very much.
Hi, this is Senator John Laird, and I am really sorry that I cannot be with you today. But it is important enough that I really wanted to send some comments about the issue and about what you're all doing there. Because I'm very grateful that Housing Santa Cruz County is such a broad coalition of organizations and community members that really is trying to make Santa Cruz County affordable for everybody. We have a major need for affordable housing in California, and we're at a unique time in the state budget process right now. Our economy is going strong, and as a result, we are going to have over $60 billion in available general fund resources. And some of that will go for reserves, and a lot will go to schools. But I think it's the Senate's proposal to make $2.7 billion available for affordable housing and home ownership, including $1 billion for the California Dream for All program, a new revolving fund for first-time home buyers to partner with the state and purchase homes with little or no down payment and reduce mortgage costs by more than 20%. We also propose putting $3 billion into homelessness over 3 years to build on last year's historic $12 billion 2-year investment, which would include additional funding for Project Home Key, local funding, and encampment resolutions. Along with Assemblymember Mark Stone, I was really proud to provide $14.5 million in the state budget last year to try to help Santa Cruz get ahead of the homeless issue in a way that addresses the fact that we have a disproportionate per capita population, but get limited amounts of money because of our size compared to big cities. We also, last year, put in $2 billion for higher education for housing, and it was overexpended already, even though it was designed to be for 3 years. So we're proposing putting another $1.5 billion to expand student housing into the mix. And I know that this event launches Affordable Housing Month and the state's action on housing, and especially highlights the upcoming budget that we're about to decide. So even though I can't be with you today, the news is good. And I'm sure if I were there with you today, I would see that Fred Keeley is not wearing any socks. And at this stage of his career, he ought to be able to afford socks. So maybe we can all chip in. And it is my pleasure to introduce the head of the Senate. Toni Atkins is a historic glass ceiling breaking elected official. She was Speaker of the State Assembly. I think she was the first lesbian to be head of a state legislative body in California, and she's unique in that now as the Senate president, she has headed both houses, something that had not happened in modern times. She's a good friend of mine, has a historic career in local government in San Diego, as well as her legislative service. But one of the major things that she has dedicated herself to is the struggle to provide more housing in California. So it's my pleasure to introduce that leader, my friend, the President of the Senate, Toni Atkins.
Hello, I'm Senate President Pro Tempore Toni Atkins. Thank you so much for that introduction, John. I am always thankful for your leadership and your steadfast friendship. And thank you, Housing Santa Cruz County, for inviting me to be part of tonight's celebration. It's a pleasure to join you all virtually and to wish you all a very happy first anniversary. Now, more than ever, we need organizations like yours as we work towards building more and more homes and making the California dream a reality for all. My parents were renters all of their lives, not because they didn't work hard, but because it was just out of reach for their means. That's a reality that far too many Californians today are living with as well. For the past several years, my legislative colleagues and I have worked hard to correct the inequities that have kept families like mine from homeownership. Last year, our state budget dedicated more than $3 billion to build affordable housing for low-income families. We also allocated over $12 billion to address homelessness and $4 billion to fund frontline anti-poverty programs. Our budget represents what we value. It's a demonstration of what issues matter most to us. This year, we're continuing those efforts, and in the Senate, we're crafting a budget plan focused on putting our wealth to work and continuing California's ongoing commitment to expand pathways to home ownership and to solve this housing and homelessness crisis. But we need your help. The information and perspectives we gain from you is critical to our work at the state level. We need your open and honest thoughts, and we want to know what you think may work to address the problems we face, what resources you need, and what we can do to help. Together, we have worked hard on issues like density incentives and production of affordable housing, but now comes the heavy lift. We need to get people off the streets and into permanent housing. We need to help families move from renting to home ownership. The legislature will be looking to groups like Housing Santa Cruz County to be our partners as we tackle these complex issues. I look forward to our continued partnership and our collective work ahead. So congratulations again on your 1-year anniversary. And on behalf of the state of California, thank you.
Okay. We're so glad that even though they weren't able to come in person, that they took the time on our request to make a video for us, and we're so glad to be connected to their work. And I know we'll be working closely with Senator Laird and Assemblymember Rivas and other legislators on the issues we are so concerned about. As you know, because you're here, Housing Santa Cruz County is committed to a diverse, inclusive, and thriving community. And we are working every day on that goal through specific activities that will help create a lot more affordable housing opportunities for families, essential workers, and vulnerable populations in our county. We have had a very strong first year, especially considering the context of the pandemic and the numerous crises that have plagued our county and our world in the past years. Let me be specific about the work we've done. We've grown a truly diverse, county-wide organization consisting of so many of the organizations and individuals and constituencies that can truly make a difference on affordable housing. We've raised a respectable amount of funds to sustain our work, though we do welcome more if you're able to contribute. We have brought on 2 very capable part-time staffers. We've created a truly dynamic website with a great tool for tracking specific affordable housing projects throughout the county, and a terrific newsletter and social media program to keep people informed. Please check these things out. Check out our website. Check out the newsletter. We've also sponsored engaging educational events, and most importantly, we've activated hundreds of people to support projects and important policy changes using the latest technology tools. However, all of this would not matter very much if we were not seeing results. The good news is we are seeing results that are changing lives and improving lives. Projects we have endorsed have been approved despite opposition. Controversial but needed policies have been adopted. Funding for affordable projects has been approved. We are especially proud of our work to successfully advocate for state affordable housing tax credits for several projects in Santa Cruz County. These are projects that are now literally moving forward, breaking ground, and will house hundreds of our neighbors and co-workers and family members. I want to just show you real quickly that we did just recently produce an annual report that you can see on our website. Take a look at this copy if you'd like, to see a the complete range of work we've done in the past year. This is what we do, and this is what you're doing by joining with us today and every day. Thank you so much for doing that. All we have to do now is keep it up. So join or remain on our email list, engage with our social media and spread the word, participate in our events, and keep up with the latest news. Use our advocacy tools to move decision makers to action, and contribute when you can. This is a great moment for affordable housing. It's a great opportunity moment. And we have seized that moment, and we just need to keep going. Now, I'm going to do something that's a little bit risky, but absolutely necessary. I'm going to single some folks out for their stellar work. It's risky because I know I might leave someone out by accident who also deserves to be recognized. And in advance, I apologize for any omissions. But these are some of the real heroes in this affordable housing work that means so much to so many people in our community. These are people who are doing the hard work every day to create a more equitable, inclusive community. A community that values the health of every resident by ensuring that everyone has access to housing. I'm going to start with some folks from local government who are here with us today. From the city of Santa Cruz, Bonnie Lipscomb and Jessica DeWitt, who lead their housing work. Carlos Landaberry, the housing program manager in Watsonville. I'm not sure if I saw Suzanne, but Suzanne Issei from the county of Santa Cruz, who had said she was going to be with us. She has done incredible work at the county level. I also want to acknowledge, I'm not sure all of them are here, but I know at least some of them, 3 people, Kyle Kelly, Rafa Sonnenfeld, and Matt Huerta, who played key roles on our original Housing Santa Cruz County Steering Committee during our formative stages and are in the policy advocacy trenches every day. Thanks, guys. And then, love you. And then there's the dynamic duo of Tim Willoughby and Linda Kerner, who volunteer so much of their time to track local housing issues and keep us informed. Thanks, guys. And I also want to acknowledge my buddies Phil Kramer and John Dietz from Housing Matters. People with real challenges are getting into housing every week because of their work. Thanks. I'm going to go fast now. There are so many other folks doing great hands-on work. I know Jenny Panetta from the Housing Authorities here. Yay, Jenny. Satish and his folks from Habitat for Humanity are here. Of course, Eden and Midpen are champions in building affordable housing. There's so many to recognize, but because I know you're dying for me to rattle off even a few more names, I also want to really quickly introduce our governing board of Housing Santa Cruz County. And at least raise your hand if you're here. And not everyone could make it today, but there are an awful lot here. Maria Elena de la Garza, Ann Paz Padilla from CAB, Fred Keeley from Everywhere, Alina Harway from Nonprofit Housing Association of Northern California, Sibley Simon from New Way Homes, Jane Barr from Eden Housing, Tim Willoughby from Affordable Housing Now, Elisa Arona and Justin Medrano, both from the Health Improvement Partnership, Gretchen Regenhardt, formerly of California Rural Legal Assistance, Andrew Goldenkrantz from the local Democratic Party, Casey Beyer from the Santa Cruz Chamber of Commerce, Erica Padilla Chavez, currently of Pajaro Valley Prevention, but soon to be head of the food bank, and Diana Alfaro, who you've met already. And just one more. Our chief wrangler, the one who keeps us on track, who keeps me on track, which is really a tough job, our interim managing director, Brooke Newman. Brooke's work is truly turning Housing Santa Cruz County into a serious, professional, effective organization, and we're so grateful to have her with us. Unfortunately, Brooke is only able to work with us on an interim basis, and we are actively seeking a new full-time executive director. So if you have any interest or leads, please talk to me or one of the other board members. So, you have already met Diana, our board vice chair and a Mid-Penn housing project manager, currently working on a supportive housing project in Santa Cruz that will house 50 very low-income residents. But more importantly today, Diana is the queen of affordable housing. While it's a project with many hands involved, Diana is the driving force behind it. Let's hear a bit more about what's coming up in the next 4 weeks as Santa Cruz County celebrates Affordable Housing Month. Diana.
La Reina, that's right. Don't forget it. Thank you all again for joining us this afternoon on this great weather. I mean, seriously, I think I got a tan. So this was our official kickoff event, so thank you for showing up, but we have so much more coming up. Not only are we educating a lot of folks, we're going to have a jurisdictional update at the end of the month, hosted by Housing Santa Cruz County, but we're also going to have a lot of regional events related to the housing element in Scotts Valley, in Watsonville, and also online over Zoom for the city of Santa Cruz and Live Oak County region. But we're also, like I said, celebrating affordable housing, and we have 3 groundbreakings, actually 4, 2 of them on the same day, to celebrate all of this great work and advocacy that Dawn has done. Actually, that was one of my proudest moments of the year, hearing Dawn advocate at the Tax Credit Allocation Committee for what is now going to be up to almost 400 units of affordable housing that are breaking ground here in Santa Cruz County this year. Nice. So, yeah, $140 million in tax credits. So, Dawn, that was super awesome. It's going to start off with, on the 11th, May 11th, with the 1500 Capitola Road, or 17 Capitola. So that's happening soon. Then we have the City of Santa Cruz 1-2 punch plus a third up-and-coming development. So that is, hold on, I'm getting there. That is on May 19th. So that is Pacific Station South. That is the Calvary Church, or the 525 Cedar Street. And then there's going to be a preview of the library development. So that's super awesome. And then we're also going to have the Freedom Boulevard groundbreaking on May 25th. So we get to see those beautiful units in Watsonville. Again, county-wide. So we got coverage everywhere. And this week, you know, come and party with some Housers. We're going to have a happy hour on Cinco de Mayo. So that will happen at Abbott Square, and come and join us. And that is hosted by Santa Cruz County with special guest, wait for it, Don Lane. So we would also love to have you all there as our special guests. So please come and join us, and that is happening again on Cinco de Mayo, and that starts at 5:30 to 7 at Abbott Square. We have more.
We have more.
Okay. So with that, let's go back to Dawn.
All right. As some of you know, I have a history with mayoral proclamations. You will not be surprised to learn that I invited the 4 local mayors, plus the chair of the Board of Supervisors, to each create an Affordable Housing Month proclamation. At this moment, I'd like to invite up Mayor Sonia Bruner, Mayor Ari Parker, Mayor Donna Lind, and on behalf of Mayor Sam Story, Jacques Bertrand from the City Council, and representing the Board of Supervisors, Chair Manu Koenig, Shane McKeithen. And we are so grateful that they have, each of the cities and the county have leaned in together into Affordable Housing Month. So I'm going to invite each of them just very briefly to say a word or two about their proclamation and about Affordable Housing Month. Donna, do you can come up or there?
I think you can probably hear me, but I'm honored on behalf of the City Council to be here to recognize the work that Santa Cruz Housing is doing. We all, I think, recognize the housing crisis that we face in Santa Cruz County. I know we struggle to keep our essential workers, police officers, firefighters, teachers, medical staff with housing costs just out of reach. And we really just want to recognize Affordable Housing Month in May and thank all of you for the work you're doing and keep up that good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
I won't read this entire proclamation. There's some really beautiful words. It's one of the joys of my role as mayor. My name is Sonia Brunner. I'm the mayor of the city of Santa Cruz. And what an exciting time for affordable housing. And this is an amazing assembly of folks here today, all supporting affordable housing here in our county, not just our city. And I just want to also acknowledge Jenny Panetta. I also sit on the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners for like 8 years now. This is my 30th year here in Santa Cruz, and 27 years ago, I became a single mother, and thankfully at that time, the Housing Authority wait list was open, and I got on that list, and I was on that list for 6 years, and finally received a low-income unit that was 30% of my income so that I could continue to go on to school. I graduated Cabrillo College while working as a single mom in downtown Santa Cruz, and then go on to San Jose State. And, 8 years being a public housing tenant really led me to sit on the Housing Authority Board, and that opened up my understanding of all of the programs, all of the funding, all of the complicated layers that exist in making affordable housing happen. And so I'm happy to continue my work here on City Council. I don't know if you know, there are 700 vouchers in the pipeline right now, and I just think that is so amazing. We've made great progress. There's great growth. We also have the city's largest affordable low-income housing project coming, and that's the Library Affordable Housing Project. So I'm hoping all of you can support and spread the word. As Dawn said earlier, please share and join me May 19th. I will be doing 2 groundbreakings. Pacific Station South, which will be at the Metro Center. Please come at 11 a.m. There will be 70 affordable units, homes there. And as well as the Calvary Church parking lot will be 65 low-income homes there. So we're going to do both on the same day. I also organized for the first time for me, a volunteer team build at Habitat for Humanity's Santa Cruz location, and I invited the entire city staff to join me. And already many of them have signed up, including Jessica DeWitt and our Parks and Recreation Director, and I'm really looking forward to that on May 20th. So I will just now keep it short. Dawn's looking at me. Thank you to Dawn Lane. Thank you to Housing Santa Cruz County. I'm not reading the whole thing, but I do want to say that I am proclaiming the month of May 2022 as Affordable Housing Month in the city of Santa Cruz. And I encourage all residents to participate in constructive discussion about solutions to our affordable housing crisis and get involved in implementing those solutions. Thank you.
And I get to follow Sonia. But I'll make it short and sweet. I want to start out, my name is Ari Parker, I am the mayor of Watsonville. Carlos Landaveri, who's down here, and Rebecca Garcia, who is over here, are 2 huge movers and shakers in our housing quest in Watsonville. We're 6¼ square miles, and that's what we are. We can't do anything outside of that. So, Dawn, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for inviting me to represent Watsonville. We did an affordable housing proclamation, but I really feel like for Watsonville, we're talking about the grocery workers, the nurses, the delivery workers, the drivers, the teachers, of which I am full-time, farm workers, and our essential workers, and the folks who do service jobs across this county. And it's so important for them to have a place called home. During the pandemic, City Council supported that over and over again, making sure that they could stay in their home no matter what. But I think it's May 25th that Watsonville will have the start of another wonderful opportunity for affordable housing. And we want to say thank you for all that your organization has done, and we want to continue to support that in your 2nd year. And hopefully, so thank you very much, Toni.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I'm not Sam Story. That guy, when he comes up to speak, he's absolutely wonderful. I'm not our upcoming mayor. She is wonderful too. I've been very surprised by her. And we're going to be working on some projects together that I hope will deal with some parking issues in Capitola, not housing. So I knew I had to say something. I'm going to take a chance here because I'm not the best storyteller. My grandfather was. But I walk around Capitola a lot. And one of the things I like to do is sort of, what's the pulse of the city? What's going on? What are the complaints? But one segment I do not ignore are the people who are homeless. And I end up talking with them a lot. And over the years, I've made a lot of friends. And this is why this group is here. So I'm going to tell you a little bit different story, a little bit different that you do not expect about homeless people. So as you know, there's a major drug problem right now. You could be walking down the street and someone would just rant and rave, and you want to walk to the other side. You don't know what that person's going to do. So I was walking home one night after gym. It was a little dark, and this guy passed me. I've seen him for about a year now. He is in the park sunning himself, J Street Park. I see him on the street, and I notice him because he keeps everything nice and neat. He has a little trailer. It's all bound up. It's not ramshackle or anything like that. It's amazing. But this time, he passed me, screeched his brakes, came back to me, and ran into me. Scared the heck out of me. I was scared. I walked home and I thought about it. I said, well, I've seen people on drug issues. I've met people on drug issues. And sometimes it's transitory, but sometimes it affects their whole life, so they're a downward spiral. The same week, no, 2 weeks later, actually it just happened. I was walking down the same street. I walked over to the other side and said, hello. I didn't know what to expect. And he said, I'm so sorry that I yelled at you the other day. I'm so sorry. He started talking about something that just happened that day. He was under the bridge, Highway 1, and some kids came up to him and threatened to beat the living daylights out of him and steal all the stuff, and he was still rattled. So, you could be on a drug rant. You can still be conscious enough to remember what you're doing. I know I'm not a person that could talk about that, but this guy said he was sorry. This is, I think, the face of many homeless people that I've known, and this is why you guys are here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Shane McKeith. I'm here on behalf of Supervisor Manu Koenig. That was a very passionate experience. It was just shared with us, and I wanted to personally say thank you. I've had experiences in my own personal life and relationships which have led me to pursue we'll pursue helping out, our fellow individuals, because not everybody has the same experiences and opportunities in life, and I think that it is great that we are all here together, working with one another. I know that the partnerships that have been created and continue to be formed is something that's going to be really instrumental in helping ensure that we are all able to have a roof over our heads and make sure that our communities feel safe. I have been working in government for about 7 years now. I worked at the state level, worked in Monterey Bay. That was my first introduction to Matt Huerta and his team in the Monterey Bay Economic Partnership. And they have done really amazing things to ensure that we are working collaboratively here in the Tri-County area, as well as just the Monterey Bay region. And I think that it's a great opportunity, and Supervisor Koenig was very happy to hear about the opportunity to bring forth a proclamation in which we here in the County of Santa Cruz join our fellow jurisdictions in celebrating the month of May here for the County of Santa Cruz and all of our jurisdictions to ensure that we are taking the steps necessary to provide affordable housing for everyone. So thank you, and thank all of the partners here and those who couldn't join us today, but thank you all for your great work and contributions to our county.
All right, so wherever you go in Santa Cruz County this month, it's Affordable Housing Month. We got it all covered. So a few minutes ago, I introduced Senator Laird as one of the most accomplished public servants in our county's history. There is another equally accomplished public servant with us today. Fred Keeley's career as county supervisor, county treasurer, assembly member, speaker pro tem, defender of our natural environment, and co-founder of this organization is well known to all of us. But what sets him truly apart, aside from his tremendous fashion sense, is his ability to wrap up a program with a bang. Please welcome Fred Keeley.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here to join all of these distinguished folks who have been working on housing for, in some cases, decades. And we very much appreciate that. On behalf of the organization, thank you for being here. A couple of comments and observations. One is, for those of you that are going to the Assembly, going to the state legislature, a couple of observations. One is that the planning for all of this stuff goes from the bottom up. And the money for all this stuff goes from the top down. And what we have done in this community, whether it's in our 4 wonderful cities or in the unincorporated area for a long time, is that we've put one foot in front of the other saying, well, there's a state requirement for a certified housing element of our general plan, so we go ahead and we do that. We then match up the zoning and the general plan in such a way that we can make an argument to the state that the regional housing needs allocation that they give to us for very low and low income, we have in fact found specific places where that can all happen, and that's all well and good. And so the local government has in effect met their legal obligation to get the stage set. But when you talk to Jane Barr and when you talk to other folks who are in either the for-profit housing world trying to build some portion of it as affordable housing, or you talk to Jane Barr and others here who are involved in the actual nonprofit side of building affordable housing, or you're one of these lovely mayors who have been here and they say how committed they are, what you hear at the end of all of that is, we're ready, we're willing, we're able. In fact, there's probably not an elected official here or a candidate here who did not say in their campaign, gee, I'm going to work on affordable housing and homelessness. Every single candidate does that. Every single elected official in our community has done that. And I believe them. I think they are earnest about that. But they don't print money with their picture on it. And as a consequence, we are at the mercy of some number of strangers, and then not strangers like our assembly member, our state senator. We rely on them to help us get the money from Sacramento. Now, what you oftentimes hear, and I suspect everybody here has heard it, is we would love to do this project, but it doesn't pencil out. My buddy John Swift, who's back here, has filled my ear over the years with a long litany of actions that could be taken locally to try to make that more possible just functionally and operationally. But even John would admit, where is the money to close the gap to make these things happen? And I think that in addition to all the work we do, all the work you do, whether that is in a city, in a nonprofit, in your own heart helping your neighbors, joining this organization and making a contribution, what we know is that it's still quite a bit short. We can be as good as we can possibly be at advocating for every site, for every density bonus, for every tax credit, for everything on this. And what we will do at the pace we're on now is we will not get to goal. And so what we need to do, it seems to me, in addition to thank you for your support for Housing Santa Cruz County as our ongoing venue for advocating for as much very low and low income housing as we can, we need a big time partner. And I will just share a thought with you, especially those of you who are seeking to go to the legislature, and our state senator, John Laird, who's in the legislature. And let's not forget, Mark Stone didn't somehow disappear off the face of the earth. He's our assembly member. He's going to be our assembly member till the end of the year. And he gets to vote on a state budget and thousands of bills between now and the end of the session. And I would make this observation, that I don't mean to be argumentative with the President Pro Tem of the Senate. They had $30 billion surplus last year, over and above everything they possibly wanted to be able to fulfill the budget. They're going to have a $50 or $60 billion budget surplus when the May revise comes out next week from the governor's office and the Department of Finance. And I think that it's a fair question to ask every legislator and the governor, since you spent 90% of your time running for office saying you're going to fix this problem of housing affordability and the scourge and the stain on our state's soul of having hundreds of thousands of people homeless in this state, and you said that was your priority, then here's your budget chance to do that. Not $3 billion, not $4 or $5 billion. That is not going to do it. But put that money in there, and then on the June ballot, put a $25 billion affordable housing bond for low and very low income housing. And 5 years from now, do it again. Because $25 billion isn't going to solve the problem. If you took every RENA allocation in the state of California for low and very low income housing, you are going to need $50 billion in public subsidy to close the gap. And if you're not serious about it, about doing that, then stop talking about it. Because it's not true. You don't mean it. If we really mean it in the state of California, we will insist that our state legislators and our governor who is running for re-election, that they in fact stand up and put that on the table. Why would we do this? Why would we do this? We do this because a general obligation bond issue approved by the voters of the state of California, listen to this next phrase, does not raise taxes. It is the obligation of the state general fund in putting the budget together to take care of the state's general obligation debt as the very first thing you do in putting the budget together. California is not debt burdened in the budget. It is not. We have plenty of capacity to be able to pass general obligation bonds and do the thing that every elected official, every candidate, everybody in this room says needs to be done. So my sense is, thank you for being part of this. Add our voices to Sacramento and get this part done. With your support for this organization, hopefully you will write a little bit more, help this organization out. We are the widest, deepest coalition ever been assembled in this county for affordable housing. Let's get focused on very low and low income housing. Let's get the state in as a huge partner in this deal. God love you and thank you very much.
Okay, we have our assignments. So again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Fred. Thank you all of our guests and speakers. And we still have a little food and beverage, so enjoy that and have a wonderful evening. Thanks again.